This is homework 16 for Mr. Reed's Year 11 class, and you'll notice quite a big change here. We're actually collecting homework in on a Thursday from now on, and that's the same with the other Year 11 set 1. Both classes are collecting homework on a Thursday and then doing a little test on a Friday in class. That's the reason for the change. So please do make sure you pay attention to that and don't try and hand it in on Friday, it'll be too late. Right, question 1. This is an ongoing problem for the group, trying to draw a histogram. And then once you have a histogram, estimating where the median is. Several people still finding this difficult. If you are good at it, try and help the rest of the group out so we can all get this right. You'll notice there is no frequency density on this side here, so we're going to have a problem there. We need to work out the frequency density from this information in the table. And remember, frequency density is just a posh name for the height of each bar. I will give you a clue. Some of you got this wrong last week, so it needs mentioning. This first bar has got a width of 5, and this 15 represents the area of the bar. So you need to think, if it has a width of 5 and an area of 15, it's got a fairly simple height that you could work out. Once you know those heights, once you've got them all, you can then decide a sensible scale up this side on the actual graph. Got a couple of things to work out then. First of all, relatively simple, an estimate of the number of people that are, or cars that are below 90. You can work that out from the graph. And then this difficult calculation that some of you are still struggling with, trying to work out the median, which involves working out which bar the middle person is in, and then where in that bar they are. On to question 2. Using the data from the previous question, estimate the mean. Now, some of you last week just wrote down a random number, no working out, no calculation of any kind. I need to give you some hints and tips on how to do this. So I'll just go back to the table. Remember, I'm trying to estimate the mean from the table. And when estimating the mean from this table, you have to pretend these 15 people are in the middle of this group. These 25 people are in the middle of this group. These 36 people are in the middle of that group, and so on. Once you've done all that, add all those numbers together and then divide by the total number of, in this case, cars. You should get an answer somewhere between 60 and 100, and it will involve a calculation and showing you working out. So that's some information on how to do question 2. Question 3, we've worked on vectors recently. The first part of the vectors topic being the column notation, counting squares, and there's some practice questions on that here. Remember that these little vertical bars mean the length of the vector, and it isn't a whole number, you've got to use surds. That's what that's about. On to question 4. Now this is the second part of the vectors topic, that more difficult aspect, particularly when we've got a ratio of 1 to 3 on this line here, 1 to 3, and that clue, I gave you this clue in class as well, it is nothing to do with thirds. This ratio 1 to 3 is to do with quarters, so just be careful with that. And you've got to work out, in terms of the vectors A and B, these individual vectors here, simplifying them where you can. Moving along, question 5. This is the last question, and there's another little subtle reminder. You'll have noticed that on every page. It's due in on Thursday. Please do not try and bring it in on Friday, it will be too late. So this is a puzzle, similar to one we did in class. You've been given some vector, you've got part of its information, part of it missing. You do know that the vector has a modulus of 10, and you have to find out this missing number here. Then the rest of the puzzle is based on that vector. You've got another vector s that's parallel to this one here, but actually 5 times as long, and you've got to find in column form that vector s, and then finally the modulus of half of s, or half the modulus of s. So find the length of the vector s and half it, basically. So that's it, that's the last question. Due in on Thursday. Please ask for help if you are stuck. That's it.